In just over an hour, the NFL is going to kick off its 100th season with their oldest rivalry, the Packers versus the Bears. Now, the Super Bowl champs, New England Patriots, begin their title defense this Sunday night versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cindy Boren, she joins us. She's a reporter with the Washington Post. Cindy, there's a lot of interesting storylines, but how do you think the NFL assesses, honestly, the health of the league right now? We've seen, obviously, a couple of high-profile retirements, all due to, the ravages these guys put their bodies through. We've seen a decline in youth participation in football year after year. I know the valuations of these teams are through the roof, but are they a little worried about the future of the league?
I think the NFL looks at it in two distinct ways. One is the short term, which is as a business, and they're making money right and left. They are flush with money, more money in every single year. It's obscene almost, and I think they're not really looking too far down the road. They would say that their safety initiatives are making strides, that they're serious about making the game safer. But when someone like Andrew Luck walks away, I think you have to really wonder if maybe, that doesn't portend something for maybe, 10 years down the road. It seems to me that whatever is happening, with youth football, the decline of youth football participants, it's probably a few years off, but when it arrives, it will arrive with a big bang. It will be a real moment.
Let's go through some of the storylines, and obviously with particular emphasis with teams in our viewing area along the Eastern Seaboard. In New York, we could see a transition year for the Giants as Manning maybe will hand over the keys here to a new quarterback. And with the Jets, and I count myself as one of the depressed fans, there's some reason for optimism. I don't think that's delusional with Darnold, and also with some of the additions, Le'Veon Bell, etc. New York, do you think there's rational optimism that at least one of these teams might make the playoffs this year?
No, I'm kidding. Of course, it's week one. There's rational optimism for everyone. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens if Eli Manning struggles. There will be incredible pressure to play Daniel Jones. I think you have to like where the Jets are. As a misguided Jets fan, you can go ahead and have some optimism. I'm not sure I'm convinced about Le'Veon Bell, but he's got fresh legs. I'm also not quite sure about Adam Gase, but you know what? Why not? It's a tough division because getting past the Patriots is always difficult in the AFC East.
Oh, I've given up that delusion as a Jet fan. We'll have to wait till Brady moves on. But to that end, a lot of people are saying, I'm curious if you agree, the defense might be the star up in New England this year, even more so than the offense.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, well, we saw it in the Super Bowl, didn't we? And I think that might be an omen of this season, really. Brady didn't have a particularly stellar Super Bowl. And the defense came through, shut down the Rams. I think they probably will be a better defensive team than offensive.
Around the Beltway, I get the reason for some enthusiasm in Baltimore with year two of that quarterback experiment, but is there a worse owner in at least the NFL than Daniel Snyder? I mean, how frustrated are people in D.C. with what he's done year after year with the dysfunction with that club?
It's worse than frustration. What's happened is disinterest. People are just losing interest. You do not hear buzz about the Redskins. You don't hear people talking about, how they think they'll do. People aren't predicting, 10-6 seasons and a playoff berth. People have just kind of become accustomed to it and given up.
And finally, I'd be remiss. Usually, my daughters don't really care much about football. It's just my son and I. But both of them mentioned Carly Lloyd. And obviously, she came to international fame on the soccer pitch. But that said, tell me it's not just a gimmick. I saw the 55-yard field goal. We all saw that. And I know she's going to train this year and try next year. I bet you the league would love to see that happen. I'm also kind of pleasantly surprised the reaction from guys on teams. Everybody wants to seemingly see this actually come through. Tell me it's not just a gimmick.
It's a gimmick, but if it puts people in the stands for preseason games, if it drums up some interest in preseason games, the NFL will be happy with that as they struggle with the players to try and determine what they're going to do with the schedule, because preseason clearly doesn't work. We learned that this year. You know, she shows a lot of promise. Clearly, she can send it 55 yards with no problems. The issue is she's not really following the same technique that a kicker would. You know, the run-up is, I think she was taking 5 steps. But you know what? She thinks she can be trained. She thinks she can work on it. And why not? You know, if you're the Chicago Bears and you watched Cody Parkey's double doink last year in the playoffs, maybe it's not the wildest idea you've ever heard.
I'd watch. Cindy, I really appreciate a few minutes today. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Hey, as a Jet fan, you'll watch anything. But I appreciate the time today, as always. Thank you so much.
I wasn't going to say that. Thank you. Bye.
All right, everybody. When we come back, we got more RFL for you. Please stick around.